What's up, bass players? Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about how to play things like this. And how to play things like this. What we're going to be focusing on today is just the right hand technique. The chords in the left hand are pretty standard bass voicings. I will break them down, but I'm not going to talk about how I come to them, how I figure them out, how I can apply them and other chords like them. I'm just going to talk about them as much as I need to help you play the example with the right hand. So let's dive in. The first example that I played is using a technique called down, up, pluck. Down, up, pluck. Down, up, pluck. That's really all the technique is. A down thumb, an up thumb, and a pluck into your index finger. From there, I'm just deciding which string I want to play them on, whether it's all three notes on one string, or the down and up on one string and the pluck on another of any given strings. To play the example from the beginning, I'm on the 12th fret with my index finger, 14, and 16. And now again, keep in mind I do have a 5 string with a high C string, so I have the notes D, A, and E. You can do this in any octave, you can do this on whatever set of strings you have. And how I'm employing this tremolo technique, down and up on the D string, the pluck on this my high C string. And then I'm just going up to the next string. So my pluck is always on just the highest string. So I'm doing down, up, pluck. And then from there, the fanciness just comes from my left hand chord. And I just shift to 15th fret, 12th fret, and again, that high E is staying the same on the 16th fret of my high C string. For now, just start experimenting with that, down, up, pluck. The pluck always on that high C string, I think just gives a consistent voicing, kind of helps build in that tremolo effect. You can do this all on one string through maybe like an arpeggio, and that would sound like this. You can hear rhythmically that this is based on triplets. Da 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 da. The second example from the beginning is based on 16th notes, or maybe really fast 8th notes if you want to think of it that way. It's a very similar technique. I'm just adding a second pluck, and it looks like this. Down, up, pluck, pluck. And in this particular example, I'm doing those two plucks on adjacent strings. I again could do them all on one string. And as I shift them across the strings, it would sound like this. A really good way to practice those two techniques of down, up, pluck and down, up, pluck, pluck is to just take a basic major scale and play each note of the scale using that technique. For this example, I'll do down, up, pluck with a D major scale just in one octave. And I can do that with the arpeggio. Likewise, I can do all of that exact same stuff with the 16th note bass, down, up, pluck, pluck. Likewise, the arpeggio. Now the main reason to kind of add these techniques to your repertoire is really just to add different textures when you're playing chordal passages. I use these techniques a lot when I'm doing solo bass intros to tunes, or maybe an outro, or if there's a breakdown in the middle, and especially with the down, up, pluck, pluck, the 16th note bass pattern. If there's a passage that's really fast, or I want to maybe double up on an 8th note somewhere, instead of just trying to do index and middle for the whole thing, I find that my right hand can stay a lot more relaxed and play quicker passages, because I now have more fingers to use and more actions, I can play those passages a little bit easier. I learned these techniques from learning a lot of Victor Wooten stuff, or at least breaking down certain passages of stuff that he was playing, and there's tons of other guys out there doing these kinds of things, so I'm sure you've maybe seen this before but needed a better breakdown. It really is as simple as down, up, pluck, or down, up, pluck, pluck. You can hear that I'm not getting exactly a slap tone out of a lot of this. You can get more underneath the string to get that really slap kind of sound. I tend to just go for more of the chordal pad kind of sound. If you're looking to hear this in really great context, the intro to Norwegian Wood by Victor Wooten is where I learned the down, up, pluck, tremolo, that 3-note grouping thing, the triplet one. And the down, up, pluck, pluck, I sort of just started working with myself and figuring out different ways to do that. I just figured if I had a triplet-based pattern, I should have a 16th-based pattern as well. I just recently, over the past 6 months, started adding that one to my repertoire, and it's really cool to just experiment and find different ways and groupings that one will work and the different contexts that it fits into. The best way to practice these techniques is going to be with those scales. Start really slow and out of time, and just do down, up, and pluck, and set that as your foundation. You need that to become your muscle memory. Once you have that, then you can put it to a metronome. Start it really slow, maybe 50 BPM, and play your triplets there. Da, 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 da. Try and make sure that those are really slow, steady, and even, and then bump it up to maybe 55 or 60, and go from there. And do a scale that whole way like I broke down, do it that way. Then go back and do the 16th notes, do them across all different strings, find different chords that you can work with them. This is where your creativity really can kind of come out, is what chords and how you want these things to sound. Basic technique of it, down, up, pluck, down, up, pluck, pluck. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to break this down even further if there's something more you have. If you have any questions, or if I didn't quite get to something in the way you needed, please reach out and let me know. I'd love to work with you on a more individual basis. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the shed.